Greetings, Mayor Jeff Schielke from Batavia speaking to you on Friday, February 19th, 2021. And to describe the situation in Batavia and the life I'm living as the mayor, I would have to say we're in a very rough moment. There's a lot of issues going on, flying around here. I will tell you that perhaps the biggest one in our presence at the moment is the whole idea of the pandemic and the vaccine and the shots that are being sought now by countless Batavians. I've had a lot of conversations and a lot of people express their frustrations and their anguish and their anticipation to me about the whole shot program. And I will tell you, I certainly share that because I don't go any place that I don't get somebody angst up about how bad they're thinking that this whole thing is being handled. Really at the city level, we have a very minor role. I'm not trying to pass the buck here, but we don't have any control over vaccinations or who gets them or when they get them. And I will tell you, I even up that level to the Kane County Health Department, who also is kind of in the trick bag on this one, in the fact that they are here to try to help facilitate and distribute the shots, but they are only the benefactors of how much comes down from the governments above, be it the state or federal government. And for whatever reason, at the moment, it appears that Kane County has been on the lax end of shot distribution. So we have a number of people have told me they have gotten the shots, mostly healthcare providers, first responders, and people in the educational field and in the grocery stores. They've all had the opportunity to be shot, and we have had a number of people tell us that they've tried to solicit shots or order it up, and as they go onto the computer, they find out that they can get a shot. I've had some people tell me that they've been invited to come into Chicago to get a shot. I've had others tell me they've been invited to go out to Rockford to get a shot. I've had one today tell me that they had been invited to go out to Dixon for a shot. And another one told me they're invited to Evanston. So there is a lot going on, and one of the problems that we are facing, and I've been talking to two very nice people in town today who have been dealing with this, is specifically the senior population, those over, in the senior years. If you graduated from high school before 1950 or 1970, you never saw a computer in any classroom you were ever in, supposedly. And as a result, most of the folks in that generation, unless they've self-taught themselves or made some special effort to go get training, are totally out of sync with computers. And so there's been some fear that, number one, they're missing out. Others have told me that they've tried to get onto the computer, and when they get to a certain website, people say, well, before we give you the appointment, you've got to sign up for our advertising brochures or announcements over the computer. So everybody kind of raises their eyebrows over that activity. I know the members of the city council are sharing this experience with me, but these are rough days, and certainly our city staff is weathering them as well as can be expected. Along those same lines, we talk about rough days at the moment in Batavia. Certainly another one is the whole volume of activity we are getting at both the police, fire, and the public works. On the public works, shout out to them because they're the ones that have had to deal with this countless downflow of snow in Batavia, and we're up to some really high numbers, the likes of which we haven't seen since 1979 or 1967. And as you know, there's piles all over the place. We have people trying to shovel and then spread salt, and then the snow's on it again, and there's just a lot of different things. So encouraging everybody, if you're on your driveway, please be very, very careful if you're trying to get the final layer of snow off your driveway and you want to put some salt down, or somebody else has already put the salt down for you, because it is a dangerous time to be walking around out there if you don't have some support nearby you to catch yourself if you fall. So get rid of the snow. Let's go to the public safety arena, and our fire and police department are just running the wheels off both the police cars, the fire trucks, and the ambulances. We've gotten a lot of calls, weather related and pandemic related, and people having great anxiety and frustrations over things that are happening. So they are running seemingly at record numbers, and so it's just been a very, very trying time. And I would ask that everybody bear with us as we try to get ourselves through these moments that are not of a very pleasant nature. One other announcement I would have today is, as we were notified I believe a week ago today, by the U.S. Census Bureau, that they had originally hoped to have the census distributed here in March, but now we are being told it's been postponed to next September. So we won't be getting the numbers until that time, and we have the ability to, kind of guess. In anticipation of making that comment, and I guess, I don't know, it's going to be in the fall when the numbers finally come, and they're going to supposedly release them not one or two at a time. They're going to do them all in the same day throughout the United States, so everybody gets the good or the bad news one way or another. I looked up in 1950, the census number for Batavia was 5,862. In 1960, that number had risen to 7,496. And in 2010, which was 50 years later, the population of Batavia had increased to 26,045. And so in the 50-year period between 60 and 10, we had a tripling, better than a tripling of size of population in Batavia. And if you think about all that, that certainly speaks to what happened on Randall Road and, specifically southeast of town, down along Rodant and Hart and Wagner Roads and out to Kirk Road. As the old timers among us can remember when that was all just farmland out there, and there wasn't much other than Fermilab. And but we anticipate that the population number, when we get it this fall, is probably going to be in the high 27,000s, or maybe 28,000, but we're not quite sure. We can kind of track how much population growth we've had, and with the addition of the senior living communities that have come in the last couple of years, we're not sure of the counts on that, but I think it's a pretty safe number to say that we'll be over 27,000 people will be living in Batavia when the new census is announced. So Batavia is a growing place, and at the end of the day, I guess what I'd like to kind of conclude by saying is that the one bright spot or the one real virtue in Batavia is the people that live here, and the friendships that have been developed, and the friendships that you hold near and dear to your heart, and the relationships you have with others, and the relationships and the feeling you have for your town. And I have a number of people who have moved away from Batavia, come back for a visit, and many of them come in with smiles on their face, and they speak how well they feel the community has grown, and the improvements that have been made, and the enhancements along the riverbanks and downtown. And we are hearing that. We've got a number of conversations going on at the city about new businesses, specifically restaurants, wanting to open up in Batavia. And it looks like we're going to be adding to that number here very, very quickly. And so I would tell you that my final view is that brighter days are ahead. I think that one thing that I want to speak about is a dear friend gave me this heart-shaped plaque that's got Batavia on it, and then it's got the American flag inside the boundaries of the city, of the state, with the word Batavia written on it. And this certainly pays tribute to a couple things in Batavia, one with the home of Dr. Sagrand, and we're continuing to work on a Flag Day monument in downtown Batavia on the Riverwalk. But I think this speaks to the heart and spirit of what Batavia is all about, and how a great town we have, and how much friendship and love and respect and admiration we have for each other and we have for the community. And there's a lot of places I go where people don't speak with great regard for their community. But I hear a lot of people say, I'm born and raised here, I'm glad I stayed. Or I have a lot of people say, gee, I moved in here and it's the nicest place I've ever lived. So I think this illustrates kind of what Batavia is all about, where we got a lot of love floating around, and we are a community that likes to show it and say it and express it. And so to everybody today, I just like to suggest, show your love for our town and show your spirit of encouragement and appreciation, because when the pandemic is over and done, I have a belief that brighter days and grander days and a lot of love will continue to flow in this town when things are over with and we get through the rough times we are now experiencing. So that's my message for this week, and I look forward to talking to you next week. Take care.